Thank you for taking the time to listen to the 39th Street Church of Christ Daily Devotional. Our devotional today is A World Without God, presented by Jack Williams. If there really is a God, where is he now? I've heard people ask that. Another one, a young lady in the congregation here at 39th Street was talking with another person, and they were discussing a man who said, the world would be better without any religion at all. Sometimes that gets to be the common theme. As a matter of fact, you look, and in times of trial, people think about things that are necessary, and sadly, religion falls way to the wayside. But is that true? Would the world be better off without religion? Would the world be better off without God? Is there no God, and does current trials or past trials or future trials mean that God is not real? Well, the reality is, if you look in the scriptures, you find that there are so many things that without God we have nothing. You think about the fact that there are moral standards. I listened to a video the other day of a great philosopher discussing how it would be in a world without God and how would you deal with morality, and he just talked about the value of life. He said, value of life with religion has an intrinsic value, but if you didn't have God, you'd put it on suffering. If life is suffering, get rid of it. It's not worth anything. So if a child is to be brought into this world and the situation isn't going to be good, kill the child. An old person has some suffering, get rid of them, kill them. Actually, we're kind of in that society, aren't we? But the reality is, you've got then a totally subjective standard. Who defines suffering? What if your actions cause me to suffer? Maybe I ought to get rid of you. If there's no God, there's no reason why that shouldn't be a choice. But with God, it's never a choice. Another thing you'd think about, the answers. Why am I here? Where am I going? What makes life worth living? Well, the writer in Ecclesiastes speaks about the fact that there's one thing that comes upon all. And the conclusion he has in Ecclesiastes 12 is, since we will face death, here is the answer. Here is the whole duty of man. Fear God and keep his commandments. That's what life's about. It'd be a life without hope if God was not here. Are there trials? Yes. But we've spoken of this before. Hebrews, the 6th chapter, verse 19, we have hope as an anchor of the soul. Do you realize, though, if God is not real, this is it. This is as good as it gets. What a terrible, terrible life. And then you think about the idea of totally alone. How many times do people without God, they just live for self, for the world, they don't care for other people at all. It's all about them. And you feel alone. But with God, we have a standard of loving one another. John 13 and verse 35. We have a standard of caring for one another, as we spoke of in the book of Galatians. Without God, there's no reason to do any of that. It's the, I take care of self, you worry about you mentality. And there's no reason for that not to prevail. A world without God is a horrible, horrible place. Sometimes people look and ask the question, if God is real, why is this going on today? Well, you look at all of the things that go on. Even in the midst of this current crisis, murders continue, thievery continues, crimes against persons in every avenue you can think of continues. Why? Is it because God doesn't care? No. It's because people don't care about God. You see, God cares enough about us that he gave his only begotten Son. John 3:16 emphasizes that, and he points out in the book of Romans in the 5th chapter that this was while we were yet in sin. We weren't deserving of that. But the God of heaven, he loves us enough to give that hope, to give that sacrifice. What a wonderful God it is we serve. The world is as it is, not because God doesn't care, but because people don't care about God. But you know what? We can make a difference. We can let our light shine that others can see our good works and prayerfully glorify our Father which is in heaven, Matthew 5:16. The world says we don't need God. Our life cries out, I must have God. Without it, there's a terrible world that's wallowing in immorality, that's wallowing without hope, that's all alone. Let's be with God. He wants to be with us. That way, of course, is through his Son, John 14 and verse 6. If you'd like to know more of how to know God so that you can keep his commandments, so that you can know you're a child, we'd love to help you in that study. Just contact us at the information that follows. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short devotional. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you'll be notified of other devotionals that will be forthcoming. Also, we encourage you to join us online live as we stream our services at each service time. More information can be found on our website at the link below. Thank you.